Hello and welcome to Diddy on Trial from BBC Sounds and the BBC World Service with me, Anoushka Mutanda-Dougherty. We are the place to come to find out everything you need to know about Diddy and his upcoming trial. We're unpacking the unfolding story, we're myth-busting, we're fact-checking, and we're answering your questions. And new episodes are with you every week, so make sure you subscribe to the BBC World Service YouTube channel so you never miss a thing. Today's episode, we're hearing one woman's claims about the entertainment industry and going to various parties with Diddy and other celebrities in 2007. One was at a corporate event in New York, and one was at a so-called Diddy white party. Now, before we begin, I have to say that these accounts are very difficult to independently corroborate, and that's for a number of reasons. One, it's the early 2000s. People aren't using camera phones and messaging as much, and they're not texting photos and videos to their friends for us to look back on. And sometimes, at parties and events, cameras weren't allowed, so there isn't as much footage. So what does that mean? We have to listen to all of the accounts and make our minds up for ourselves what we believe. But we have to remember at all times that Sean Combs and his defence deny all the allegations against him and say he's never sexually assaulted anyone, man or woman, adult or minor. Precious Muir is a TV personality and broadcaster, but that wasn't always her job. In the early 2000s, she worked as a Playboy Bunny.
I worked with them for 2.5 years, almost 3 years. I was going to events. I was signing calendars. I was doing photo shoots. I modeled the lingerie company brand. And so, I had an opportunity to travel around the US. And I was able to work with the company for quite some time. And the opportunities that I got through working with Playboy really offered a lot of other opportunities that came up in other avenues of modeling. It allowed me to meet and greet other people at these fantastic, fabulous events. If it was held at Hugh Hefner's house or it was at a golf retreat, we had those opportunities there that allowed the bunnies to be exposed to executives in the industry who can book you for something else. So, it was a really good opportunity. There were positives and there's negatives. We were always advertising Playboy. I mean, everything we had was all over us. We had the hats, we had the socks, we had the shirts, the jackets, the jumpers, you name it. Like, we were branded from head to toe.
Yes, you're like early influencers, really, what we class as.
We were ahead of the game. Like, we were doing things way before all this Instagram came about. Like, literally we were basically product placement.
Now, you've described it as a unique job. I think unique's a fair word.
It is a unique job because I don't think I know anybody else doing something particularly like this. There is a casting process. And the casting process is basically like any model job. You have to go in, you have to meet somebody who is going to basically book you for this gig. You have to go in lingerie or a bikini. You take some Polaroids and they'll then decide if you're suitable for the role. I arrived in New York 2005, and it took me a couple of years to find my way. And I initially started going to parties in 2007.
So you spoke a little bit there about career progression in this particular arena, and attending events as part of that, attending parties as part of that. When did that become apparent to you that was a way that you progressed?
Well, when I got signed to the New York agency that I did initially when I was 18 years old, and I moved to New York when I was 19, 19 going on 20. And for me, it was part of the industry that was made very, very, we were made aware of it very quickly. Socially, you needed to go out there. We went to socialize, to meet people that we could possibly never meet in our lives. And our agents and managers at the time would encourage us to go to these events. They would be, they wouldn't force you, but they would be like, well, Precious, if you've been invited, I think it's good for your career if you go.
And there is a more sinister side.
Yeah, of course. I mean, with every good, there is bad. And so people need to understand the entertainment industry is a very difficult one to navigate, especially when you don't have the right people around you, or you don't have the right people directing you in the direction of safety, looking out for your, not just get that job, book that job so I can get my percent. They are encouraging you for your safety and doing the right thing. Back then, we didn't have that. I don't feel I had that. I had to figure it out very quickly on my own.
And can you talk to me about the first time you experienced that made you go, oh, okay, I'm not sure if I'm quite comfortable right now?
Yeah, I mean, I basically went, so my exposure to the industry was industry parties, and then came the Diddy parties at the Hamptons, and then later on was the Playboy Mansion. So I had, that was the progression of my 10 years in New York. Initially when I was exposed to this industry, it was a smaller event. I was told to, to come to this amazing party. It's going to be great. There's going to be lots of people that you can network with, and there's opportunities there. There could be casting directors looking for new models for something. Like, you need to go. So here's me in Manhattan. The party consisted of a lot of people that are in the entertainment industry, a lot of people that are in hip hop, in the music industry. And I met a few of the inner circle friends that are very close to Diddy, and the same people I saw throughout the 10-year period of, hanging out with this inner circle of entertainment industry people. The first and real initiation, I guess, was me taking a sip of alcohol that basically changed my life, the way I was approached these situations after that. Like, I literally was not able to let my guard down after that. Like, that experience of me being drugged set me up for the rest of my period of time in New York. I knew that for my safety, I had to be fully aware of what I was doing every step of the way after that really horrific incident that happened to me. I don't really remember too much after obviously being drugged, because I was immediately felt a reaction. Now, as a person who doesn't do drugs, as a person who only casually drinks, I'm more of a champagne girl than vodka and cranberry. It really hit me and affected me in a very bad way. And the reaction that I received when I drank that one sip was one of the most horrific things I've ever been through in my entire life. It was so scary at the time, because I didn't know what was happening to me. I didn't know exactly how to deal with it. And because I was reacting in such a bad way, thank God somebody saw me, and the venue security guard came over and helped me in the situation. But I don't know if I had just been left with the people that I was with, what could have happened to me. I honestly don't know if I hadn't been saved by that person, where it could have gone. The rest of the night could have been, it could have turned into something else.
And I have to ask you, it's uncomfortable asking you this question, but I have to. You say that you were drugged.
Yes, I was.
And it's a horrific experience for anybody who's been through that.
Yeah.
Did you then go into the doctors and see if it was still in your system? And if so, did you then report it to the police?
So this is the thing. Think about the logic of it. I was new to the industry. I didn't know really anybody at that time. I did go and see a doctor. I was checked out, but I did not report it to the police. And this is what I really regret in my life, that I should have at the time gone to the police. But because I wasn't, I know it sounds really bad, but because I wasn't violated in any way, I just thought that, let me just get through this. Like, let me just get past this part. Like, I was drugged. I'm okay now. I wasn't hurt, sexually violated, but I wasn't encouraged to make a police report. And I should have at the time gone to the police and made that police report. But I did get seen by a doctor and I was okay. Whatever substance that was put into my system that I did not consent to, okay? Oh, precious. It was awful. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And this is why you've been speaking out so much.
Yes, because it's a situation you just can't understand until you're in it.
Yeah.
And how people get through it and have gone through something even worse. I don't honestly know how they can. And I tell you what, the fact that I was drugged and I was unable to protect myself, I was unable to figure out how can I get through this situation. I literally lost one side of my face was gone. I could not feel, I could not hold myself up. I was not able to protect myself if anybody in that room wanted to do something to me. And I stopped it, right? I was able to stop the situation. But only because of that guy, the security guard, and I need to stress, venue security guard, was able to help me get out of that situation. If it wasn't for him, I don't know what would have happened to me. And so that's why I say, like, the drugging is the issue. Because when you are drugged, you are taking that person's ability to react to the situation, and then you're taking advantage of them.
It does feel like that there's a bit of a shift happening right now, and you've been speaking out a lot.
I really am just speaking out because the fact is the industry is not safe for young talent. And when young talent come into the industry, we need to be there to support them and to be guiding them and advising them in the right way. And I feel like there's some people that are not speaking up truthfully. I would never say that somebody else that went to these events and had an incident happen to them, well, I don't believe them because I didn't see it. I don't believe them. I think everything in that industry that's come out about incidents, individuals, I believe them. I truly believe them because unless you're in it and you understand what you're in, you don't know. When you're around people that nobody says no to, you have the finances to get anything you want. And remember, these people are human beings. Humans are flawed. So you put this celebrity on a pedestal and you think this person can never do anything wrong, no wrong whatsoever.
And we've touched on this already, but immediately people skeptical of the situation would say, well, did you go to another one? And why did you go to another one?
The reason why I kept going back to social events like this is because it was encouraged by my agents at the time that this is how you make a way in the industry. This is how you make your connections. We don't have certain platforms back then to be able to speak to people directly. So the best way to do it is to be in person. There was opportunities that I achieved going to these events and meeting people in person that I don't think I would ever have gotten by just going to a casting. It is very overwhelming to do this. People don't understand how brave you have to be because, people want to hurt you for saying the truth. And so this is why I'm very limited to who I speak to, where I go about this circumstances, because I have to be worried about my safety. But I'm never going to not talk about my experience because somebody is trying to scare me into not saying something. I know that it's my truth. I know what I saw. I know what I experienced. I know what I went through. And all I'm trying to do is bring awareness to young talent so it doesn't happen to them. That's it.
And look, I have to ask you, why not raise a civil lawsuit?
No, I don't think I need to. This is the thing. I don't think that it makes sense for me. The period of time that is gone, I don't have a police report and I wasn't sexually assaulted, right? So I have to think logically. I know I would love to. I don't think also these civil, right? Civil is just for a payout, right? It's compensation.
And there's one half of it of sort of going back to these events and spaces because of the career benefits it could have. And there's another half of it, which is also very valid, which is getting wrapped up in the grandeur of it all. And we have heard since Diddy parties became in and of itself its own sort of saying.
Yeah.
How grand and extravagant they actually what kind of things would you see when you were going there?
Well, what didn't I see? Like, it's these events, the way that it's like a movie, right? You walk into this extremely lavish lifestyle, right? It's like a music video, it's like a movie. Everything is, it just looks like $1 million, right? It just is beautiful. There's champagne, there's beautiful women, there's beautiful men, there's the architecture of the building is just like, wow. Like, you're just like, oh my, you're just in awe of it all, right? Behind all of this is the craziness as well. So you're experiencing both sides. Don't get me wrong, I had a good time up until certain points of like each event and stuff. Because it is so amazing, and you do get to be in like, for example, you're right next to somebody you used to watch on television. Like, you're right there going, oh my God, like, this is, and you're like, this is insane. So you are in literal, I could just touch them if I wanted to. That's how close I was to these household names. And we were always amongst this kind of, people. We as models and as new talent, we were amongst these people who are very well established. And so there is an appeal to that. There is a feeling that you feel, wow, I'm accepted. I'm being I don't know, you feel like you're one of the people, you're one of the crew, you're one of the crowd of fabulous people that you had imagined to be a part of. I mean, there is nothing in this world than Hollywood. Like, that is a whole different world. It is like eye-opening and surprising and exciting, but then it's also scary because you have no idea, why do these older men fancy me? I look like a 20-year-old, younger. I look much younger, actually, to be honest. And you think, like, for example, I would talk to, some of these rappers or athletes, and they'll be much older than me. And I would just be like, but why are they, I was very, I don't know, I don't think I was insecure, but I was just like, why do they like, I look like a girl, like a little girl. Like, what interest does this grown man have with me? And I would always question that, because all of the rappers that you see, all of the athletes, they love girls that they don't necessarily like them looking like older women. They like the young face, the nice body, this, I don't know. It's very difficult to explain. And I really want to make this point as well, which I've noticed a lot of people have said this to me. And I want to make this really clear. I really want to make a point that because I said I saw something and I didn't see something else doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Did you hear similar things when it came to Diddy party? I mean, I've spoken to other people. We've seen the images, of naked women covered in sushi, etc.
Yeah.
Sex, was it on offer? Was it something that you felt like you had to do while you were there? Or was that more sort of hype about the event?
Playboy and Diddy parties, for me, my experience was slightly different, right? So when you're a Playboy Bunny, it feels like what you're feeling amongst the situation. When you're there, you have to please the people that have paid thousands of pounds to be a part of these events because they're raising money for charity or whatever else they're raising money for. So you feel like there is more of you need to make sure that these, high rollers are having a great time. With the Diddy party, it was more of a networking thing for me. So there is sex everywhere. Lots of girls were getting half naked, completely naked in the pool. Loads of drinking and drug taking.
Drugs freely offered to you?
Freely offered. Yeah, minutes as you arrive. Would you like some coke? Do you want some? I say no, then it's a big deal. Oh my God, why don't you do drugs? Why don't you take drugs? I'm like, because I don't do drugs. I never have. I don't. really want to participate. You guys have fun, enjoy. And I would have to play it off. I would have to like kind of make it a funny situation to not make them feel uncomfortable. The moment I used to take my phone out, if I'm just texting a friend or whatever, they would be looking at me. They would be like, oh, what are you doing on the phone? Like, what are you doing? Like in a joking way. So,
but there were cameras there.
There were CCTV cameras. There were
cameras in the bedrooms.
There was cameras in the bedrooms, in the hallways, everywhere. The property of the value of it is expensive, right? So they're having these cameras around to secure the property. I'm assuming.
He denies all the allegations against him.
Yeah.
He says he's never sexually assaulted anyone, man or woman, adult or minor.
In October, a spokesperson for Sean Combs told BBC News that allegations of wrongdoing at his notorious parties were unfounded. They said Sean Combs' white parties and other events were iconic, a true convergence of hip-hop, Hollywood and black excellence. It's disappointing to see the media and social commentators twist these cultural moments into something they were not.
You're going to continue to speak out about this because this is something you're passionate about. Entertainment industry wide, not just specifically about Diddy.
And I just want to focus on that also. It is not specific just to him. It's about individuals in the entertainment industry using their power and abusing their power for the next generation, the younger talent.
So that was Precious Muir sharing her story with me. Now we're going to take a look at what else is going on elsewhere in the Diddy universe. Jay-Z has asked for a court to dismiss a rape lawsuit over inconsistencies. Rolling Stone senior investigative reporter Cheyenne Roundtree is here to tell us what's been going on. Cheyenne, where does this story really start with Jay-Z?
This story starts with Jay-Z, I believe, just as soon as he was named in this lawsuit. He had a statement ready to go. His team got involved in the case, and they have been adamant that not only was Jay-Z not present at this event, that this event never happened. So we're just kind of seeing the continuation of, just a week or so ago when the Jane Doe named Jay-Z as being the other man in that room with her.
Yeah, and that the allegation, of course, it's quite a horrific allegation. It's very graphic detail about him and Sean Diddy Combs allegedly raping a 13-year-old girl at a VMAs after party in 2000. And then all of a sudden something else happens, which I wasn't expecting at all. I was just expecting this to carry on in the way that many of the other civil lawsuits have. But then the alleged victim came forwards.
Yeah, she sat down with NBC News over the weekend and told her story. Now, she was still anonymized in the interview, but we were able to hear from her for the first time, and she shared a little bit more details about that night. That eventually she wound up having to admit that there were some mistakes that she's made in the retelling or some of the details that she gave.
Some of those inconsistencies are saying that people were there who weren't there, or who can prove that they were in another place. But also NBC conducted their own sort of corroboration or verification of her account and spoke to members of her family. What happened there?
So NBC spoke with her dad. Now, she says that her dad was the one who she called in the middle of the night after she ran away from this party and called him from a gas station to come pick her up. Now, she lived in a part of New York that's 5 hours away. So she says that she called him. He drove through the night to pick her up before, dawn, while it was still dark out, to bring her back home. NBC spoke to her dad, and he said, I would have remembered that. I don't remember that. He acknowledges that he might have had, a busy time period of his life then, but he said he would have remembered driving all that way to pick up his 13-year-old daughter who had just escaped this horrific encounter. She also said that she had been taken to New York City by a friend who drove her. Now, again, she was coming from 5 hours away. The friend who drove her to Manhattan, she has since died. And so those are two corroborating witnesses that she gave that one cannot confirm or two say they can't remember.
In this case, what we're seeing is this is Tony Busby's client. Now, Tony Busby is the Texan lawyer who claims to be representing, well, he's told the BBC, representing possibly 150 alleged victims of P. Diddy. It's kind of called into question his vetting of these alleged victims.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of cases that he's bringing forward, and I believe he said this case had been referred to him by someone else, and so he is still properly vetting everything. He stands by his client. Jane Doe stands by her story, and she is, continuing on with this case.
Yeah, and I mean, he said that she's offered to do a polygraph test, and he continues to vet her claims, but he said he's extremely proud of her as well. Jay-Z's lawyer has spoken. What did he say?
Yeah, so at Rock Nation, a team of press were brought in and kind of were given a timeline of events that spoke to why they believe this Jane Doe story is not actual. I think throughout the interview or throughout the press conference, they said this did not happen. This is factually implausible, repeatedly saying that based on the timeline of events that she gave, there is no way that this could have happened the way she said it happened. And they did some time stamping of events of when she would have to leave her home to arrive outside of the VMAs, the time it would take to get to this alleged after party. I mean, a huge sticking point is the 20-minute drive to the location of a U-shaped driveway of a White House. Now, if you live in Manhattan, you know that traffic is awful, and 20 minutes can get you only 10 blocks. So to travel 20 minutes on a busy night to a house, it just seems like they said it's not possible, that they couldn't find a single house in the 20-minute radius that would fit this description. They also have pictures of Jay-Z and Diddy at various after parties around New York City and saying, even if they did go to these parties and were driven to this location, and they said there's a 37-minute window. If all those things happened that were unlikely to happen, if say they did happen, there's a 37-minute window where Jane Doe would have to arrive, sign an NDA, take a drink, be spiked, and then be allegedly assaulted, escape, run away, and go to this gas station.
They've asked the judge for it to be dismissed.
They asked the judge for it to be dismissed. They asked for an expedited hearing.
And one other thing that Jay-Z's lawyer did was distance him from Diddy.
Yeah, I think he said, these are not best friends. He said, yes, they were at same events sometimes. He kind of compared them to being, industry colleagues, the same way that you would be cordial with a friend that you worked with. He's saying that's kind of it. He has nothing to do with Diddy's criminal case, that he has nothing to do with his other civil cases. They were friends or friendly at the time, and that was about it.
Shen, thank you so much. Just before you go, we have to say, Jay-Z, real name Sean Carter, he denies the allegation, and so does Sean Combs, P. Diddy. Jay-Z said to the BBC, this incident didn't happen, and yet he, as in Tony Busby, filed it in court and doubled down in the press. He said, true justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon. So a very firm statement of what we've just spoken about there. And Diddy, as we well know, says he's never sexually assaulted anyone, man or woman, adult or minor. Well, that's it for us this week, but if you've heard something and you weren't quite sure whether it was true or you just want us to unpack it on the pod, please send us your questions on WhatsApp at +44 330 123 551. That's +44 330 123 551. Or you can DM them to me, or you can find us on socials at BBC Sounds. I'm Anoushka Mutanda-Dougherty, and you've been listening to Diddy on Trial from BBC Sounds and the BBC World Service.